We're always looking for a good take out there. This one is genuinely stunning. Scott Galloway
Super
of
hot take.
Pivot fame, a co-host of the podcast with Kara Swisher, usually confined to the tech world and to like cringe liberal politics, has decided to wade into the Republican primary. Here's his prediction.
I think President Trump is not going to run for president under the auspices of a plea deal.
Where is that coming from? No one says that stuff.
Actually, Governor Christie said it, or at least a component of it.
He's going to be on the stage if Trump shows up. He qualified thanks to my donation to him. I can't believe I gave him money.
I actually think Governor Christie is going to surpass DeSantis and be the number 2, but I don't think it'll matter. I think Trump. I don't understand and can't empathize with President Trump, but I know how old rich men think. He has a very nice life, and his life can be going back to golf and sycophants and having sex with porn stars, which I think is a good thing. I'm not being cynical. I would like to do more of that at some point in my life.
Okay.
And or
I'm going to hit you when this is over, just so you know. Go ahead.
Or he can live under the threat of prison.
Okay, that's certainly a take. Here's why I think Scott's wrong. If that was true, then he would have not run again in 2024. Everything that he said, I've heard that, by the way, from a lot of people who knew Trump. They're like, Trump likes to golf. He doesn't like to do work. All that's true. Guess what? He could do all that as president and still get all of the attention and craving that he's always wanted. So I think that the analysis is spurious. I also think that given the threat of legal indictment, being president is the best possible scenario because it shields you legally from a lot of, or it gives you legal immunity in many of these cases and gives you the best political case to wage in order to keep you out of a prison cell.
Okay, so I agree with you, but I'm going to make the other case just to make it interesting. So if he didn't run for president, then he wouldn't, like the crimes were already committed, and this writing was on the wall that he was likely to face indictment in a variety of cases with regard to January 6th and the documents and the thing in New York as well. So since that writing was already on the wall, if he doesn't run for president, then he doesn't have any leverage to try to secure the plea deal that Scott Galloway is floating here and which others have floated as well, which is like, listen, you agree to not run for president, you go back to your private life, and this all goes away. So it would make sense in that context of like, I got to hold the threat of me being president again over their head so I can secure some sort of a deal to make sure that my ass does not end up in prison. And then, you know, the fallback plan is to actually win the presidency again, and then he can make his own problems go away. The reason that I don't think that this is correct is, you know, if they strike this kind of a plea deal with Trump, it really validates the case that this all was political to start with. That the only thing they cared about was keeping him out of the White House to begin with. And the lawyers that I've talked to, because, you know, some of the mechanics of this, like I don't have full insight into, the lawyers I've talked to really think that this is a very unlikely outcome because you're offering a political solution to what is ultimately a legal problem, and those two things don't normally mix. So that's why that's why I don't see it happening, frankly. But hey, it's interesting.
Yeah, look.
What do you think of the Chris Christie take?
Oh, totally wrong. I mean, no offense, Scott, but like this is just not your wheelhouse, really at all. I mean, we've covered. I think here's the problem for him. Scott genuinely is like a resistance liberal, and he hates Trump, and he wants to see somebody like Christie ascend. But you and I are familiar with how actual GOP primary voters think and act, and they love Trump. And the thing that they hate the most about Chris Christie is that he's anti-Trump. Chris Christie, if he was running on literally anything else, probably would be doing fine. If you are somebody who is genuinely anti-Trump, the best lesson you can learn is to be like a Nancy Mace or a what was the guy who got elected governor of Georgia? Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp. If you want to be like Brian Kemp in those two instances, what do? You run against the left and you just kind of hope that nobody really notices that you do have differences with Trump. That's not the Christie tactic. There's no way you can be number 2 like that. Not whenever. That's like running against Ronald Reagan in 1980. It's just not going to happen.
I do think, I agree with, like, Christie's not going to be the nominee. I don't know if he could pull into second. Although, actually, I did see, I mentioned this before, there's a New Hampshire poll that has him actually tied with DeSantis in New Hampshire for second place in New Hampshire. I do think that there is something just on a like basic human level that is compelling about the fact that he feels like, just like Trump does, he feels like he's saying the things that he really thinks. Whereas DeSantis, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, all this other cast of characters, it's so naked that they're posturing, they're trying to get the right answer, they're using whatever their little consultants and focus groups told them to say. And like, obviously Chris Christie has his own advisors and is doing his own version of that game, but he has much more of that feel of like, listen, I know this is uncomfortable and unpopular. I know the audience that I'm speaking to. I don't care. I'm just going to say it anyway. There is something compelling about that. Is it win the GOP nomination compelling? No. Is it do a little bit better than I think people are giving him credit for? Yeah, I could see that. Okay. I could see that.
All right. Well, maybe. We'll find out. Maybe I look like an idiot. You can roll my clip and say I'm the actual cringe person who doesn't know what I'm talking about. That's always fun. So we'll see you guys later.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.